No! Please! Get away! Help!
Imagine in the heavy silence of your room, right at the edge where wakefulness and dreams slowly dissolve into each other, you suddenly realize that you no longer have control over your body. You are paralyzed. It feels as if something invisible is sitting on your chest, turning every breath into a painful struggle. Your heart is pounding violently, yet you cannot even move your smallest finger. Then, in the darkest corner of the room, you see a shadow slowly taking shape. A thin, emotionless, inhuman figure with deep black eyes. Eyes that seem to have swallowed the entire darkness of the cosmos. You want to scream, but your tongue is locked. You can only stare as the being gets closer. This moment is not the beginning of a science fiction movie. It is one of the most terrifying experiences reported by millions of people around the world. For some, it is a neurological nightmare. For others, undeniable evidence of an encounter with extraterrestrial beings. But the real question is, are we truly being abducted by unknown cosmic travelers, or are we witnessing a performance directed by our own brain in the dark chamber of the subconscious? The story of aliens, contrary to popular belief, did not originate from telescopes or space theories. Its roots lie deep within the human psyche. When someone confidently describes being touched by gray beings, their nervous system produces the exact same response as if they were touching a real physical object. For the brain, felt reality matters more than reality itself. The human brain is a prediction and reality generating machine. It constantly interprets the world around us. But sometimes this machine develops a crack, a fracture that erases the boundary between inner and outer worlds. Psychologists believe what we now call alien encounters may simply be a modern version of ancient myths. Centuries ago, people spoke of jinn, demons, night spirits, and the old hag pressing on people's chests during sleep paralysis. Today, those ancient fears have simply changed costumes. Demons now have black eyes and metallic spacecraft. But why would the brain construct such complex scenarios? The answer may lie in a phenomenon called sleep paralysis. In this state, the brain awakens while the body remains in deep sleep mode. In this condition, the terrified mind tries to explain why the body cannot move. And right there, imagination steps in. The mind pulls from an archive of cultural fears, movies, stories, myths, and nightmares, and constructs a face for the invisible presence in the room. For a medieval human, it might be a demon. For a modern human, a gray alien. But things become even more disturbing when we realize that thousands of people across different countries who have never met report strikingly similar details. Blinding white lights, cold metallic rooms, mechanical sounds, strange medical procedures, and beings with large heads and dark eyes. One of the most famous cases involves an American couple, Betty and Barney Hill. In 1961, they claimed that while driving home at night, a strange light in the sky began following them. Soon after, both experienced recurring nightmares, intense anxiety, and fragmented memories of beings with large eyes who had taken them aboard an unknown spacecraft. Strangely, when separately placed under hypnosis, their accounts showed terrifying similarities. This case later became one of the foundations of modern alien abduction lore. Is this simply a shared neural pattern? Or does the human brain access something that science has not yet learned how to describe? Neuroscientists say that in extreme fear, the brain can generate the sensation of another presence, even when no one is there. In some experiments, researchers have been able to artificially induce this feeling by stimulating specific brain regions. Participants suddenly felt as if someone was standing behind them, watching them. In one of the most unusual neuroscience experiments, researchers directly stimulated a part of the brain and created a fully artificial sense of presence. Participants suddenly felt an invisible being standing right behind them. Some became terrified. Others swore they felt a cold hand on their shoulder, yet no one was there. This experiment raised a chilling question. If the brain can create the presence of another being, how many of humanity's most terrifying experiences actually come from outside reality? The most disturbing truth is that the brain does not merely record reality, it constructs it. This same mechanism allows humans to form emotional bonds with non-human entities. Just as some people fall in love with artificial intelligence and assign personality and emotion to chatbots, the mind can also create beings in loneliness and darkness that give life a deeper sense of meaning. Psychologists call this phenomenon anthropomorphism, the attribution of human traits to non-human entities. Perhaps the mind prefers to believe that a cosmic entity is watching us rather than accepting that in this infinite universe we are completely alone. For some, being observed by a higher intelligence is more bearable than confronting cosmic meaninglessness. But what about those who report physical marks on their bodies? Scratches, wounds, strange inflammation? Psychosomatic science has shown that the mind can produce real physical changes in the body. Severe stress, deep fear, and absolute belief can trigger genuine physiological reactions. The mind does not merely tell stories, it can force the body to participate in them. This brings us to one of the dangerous weaknesses of human cognition: memory. Contrary to popular belief, memory is not a fixed video file. Every time we recall a memory, the brain reconstructs it. This means memories can change, distort, or even be completely fabricated. In hypnosis sessions used for recovering alleged abduction memories, a vulnerable mind can turn small suggestions into fully formed realities. Sometimes a single wrong question is enough for the brain to create an entire story of a space journey, one the person may believe until the end of their life. We are watching a theater of memory, where fear, loneliness, and imagination work together to construct a new reality. Perhaps the most painful part of this phenomenon is the epidemic of loneliness. We live in the most connected era in history, yet many people feel more alone than ever. A person may be surrounded by others, yet feel unseen. Perhaps this is why even a terrifying extraterrestrial presence can become a form of connection, a gaze, a presence, proof that something is out there. Aliens may be less about extraterrestrial beings and more about our alienation from ourselves. They are shadows emerging from the collective unconscious, reflections of fears, loneliness, and unanswered questions. Yet, despite all scientific explanations, something inside us resists. A voice deep within whispers, "What if none of this is just illusion?" Perhaps modern science, like medieval humans, still lacks the tools to understand certain phenomena. Perhaps truth is neither in the sky nor entirely in our neurons, but in a hidden boundary between them, where consciousness meets the unknown, translating what it cannot comprehend into gray figures and silent encounters. We live inside a vast uncertainty. The human brain is both our greatest tool for understanding the universe and our greatest illusion maker. It creates meaning, generates fear, and sometimes traps us in nightmares from which there is no escape. Aliens, whether cosmic travelers or shadows of the collective unconscious, remind us of one thing: we are still strangers to ourselves. We search for life in distant galaxies while still lacking a complete map of the darkest rooms of our own mind. And perhaps the most terrifying question is not, do aliens exist? But rather, if one day it is proven that all these encounters were merely products of the human mind, would that truth bring comfort, or would it make the universe feel smaller, colder, and infinitely lonelier? Now it's your turn. If one night in the darkness of your room you felt a presence with no logical explanation, what would be your first thought? A brain glitch, or something science has not yet been able to explain? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'm genuinely curious which side of this boundary you stand on. And if this video made you reflect even for a moment on the deepest and most unknown parts of the human mind, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so we can dive again into the darkest and strangest mysteries of psychology and the universe.